Hi, I'm Jody Schwan, and it is truly an honor to bring you a story today from Kendra Brouwer. She's a Sioux Falls mom, a wife, a business owner, a survivor, and I think you'll agree, really an inspiration. You might have seen Kendra's story over at pigeon605.com a couple weeks ago, and it has just continued to unfold in a really wonderful way. And I'm so grateful now that we're going to be able to hear from her in her own words. Hi, Kendra. Thank you so much for being with me.
Hey, Jody. Thanks for having me. So
Well,
glad that I'm able.
me too. You look wonderful. You sound wonderful. How are you feeling?
You know, um, I'm not sure how you're supposed to be feeling 3 weeks after something like this, but I would say I feel pretty darn good. Um,
So
yeah,
great. That's just wonderful. So I'm going to have you take me back, of course. And this story, gets worse before it gets better. Let's just say that. So take me back. It's only been 3 weeks ago to a night unlike any other for you. What led up to this, and talk to me based as best you can on what you remember.
sure. So, I mean, in all honesty, I don't remember anything until I got to my cardio recovery room. So, from what I know, um, got my kids to bed, and I went to bed just like any other normal night. And my husband woke up to me gasping and taking the last breath, as he describes it. And and then he proceeded to start chest compressions and call 911 and unlock the front door and wait for the paramedics to arrive and all of those things. And that's probably a better story for him to tell, even though he probably wouldn't do something like this to tell it. Um, but he did what he had to do and was bold and brave and strong and just took care of things, and didn't even disrupt the rest of the house. Normally my dog would be like all over the place if there was more people, and just the way that it worked out, everybody stayed asleep and was quiet and taken care of. And then he had to sit, you know, at the emergency room for hours before he even knew what was going on back there. Fortunately, my heart was beating again before they took me out of my home. So at least he had that peace of mind, that my heart was at least beating again.
Now, had he
Uh,
ever done CPR before?
No, and no training, no. And he's like, he says that he's like, I didn't know what to do, but knew at least enough to try chest compressions, which now, if you're CPR trained, that that's really all that is involved. Um, we have a better awareness now of the importance of CPR training, and just how much it takes out of you. Like, he was exhausted. He said that his arms hurt. He didn't know how much longer he could do it. And when the sheriff arrived, they grabbed his arm and they said, "Hey, I got this. I can take over." And he just, he was running on pure adrenaline at that point. And there's so many things set up that if it had to happen, so grateful for the scenario that I was actually in bed with him and not with my kids or on the couch like I am lots of other times. And that he is a light enough sleeper, which is unfortunate on some ends, but in this case, that he is a light enough sleeper that he was aware of it and he heard it and caught it and did everything that he could do to bring me back. Just like so fortunate in so many arenas. Um, and then what he had to go through for those few days, he's more brave than he would admit. He is stronger than he would tell anyone. And I know that he was scared. I know he was very scared. And I also know that the outpouring of support and contact and everybody who reached out and connected and asked and did things, like, like that helped make him stronger, knowing that we were so cared for and so loved as we were going through this, when I wasn't even conscious enough to be of any support to him. So he really stepped up.
Absolutely. I mean, you talk about heroic, right? I mean,
Oh,
when you heard
absolutely.
about all of this, you literally went to bed one night and the next thing you know, you're waking up in a cardiac recovery room, but a lot
Yeah,
happened in
like
between,
days later. Yeah.
right? And nothing. I mean,
Hmm.
so to fill in the gaps a bit, maybe,
Yeah.
they obviously had to take some measures for you
Hmm.
at Sanford to try and move your recovery along as best they could. Can you just talk a little bit about what that all involved?
Sure. So from my understanding, um, they basically induce a cool down of your body, or they did of my body, cool things down to prevent swelling so that my brain and my organs did not swell in response to the trauma. Um, and then, they don't know how long I went without oxygen and those kind of things. And so they have to monitor that closely so that they know if there was any, long-term damage done or that kind of stuff. And so I was cooled, I was intubated. Um, I've seen pictures, but I have zero recollection of being in that state. So it's weird to see yourself like that, but really have like no idea of what those days were like. And then when they gauge that things are stable enough, then they start to slowly warm my body back up, and look for reflex kind of things, and remove the intubation so that I can breathe on my own. And they monitor brain waves and cardiac rhythm and blood pressure and those kind of things. And there was some talk of needing to do an MRI, which if I had anything to say about that, I would have absolutely said, no way, I don't want an MRI, because the last time I had an MRI, I had a really bad allergic reaction to it and I was miserable for days. And so maybe my subconscious heard that and was like, okay, you got to kick this into gear and get better, because we know we don't want an MRI. And so at that point, I started responding. I was squeezing hands. I don't know that I was talking, or I was maybe trying to talk, but I was doing the reflex things that they were looking for. My vitals were stable, that kind of stuff. And so they, brought me back from the chill, and opted that they didn't need to do the MRI because I was responding appropriately, which everybody was very pleased with all of that. The first picture that my husband shared once I was like up, funny enough, and apparently I had to go to the bathroom. So I guess that's a good sign that body functions are going again and stuff. Yeah, and then after those, I think 3 days in the ICU, then they moved me to a room on the cardiology floor. And that's what I remember. I think that Saturday is when I got moved to the cardiology room. And that's when my memories kind of start coming back. And they were long days, and fortunately I had a window and I could see the sunrise. So that was a blessing. And it was during that spell where it was just so dang cold that it was okay that I wasn't able to go outside, because it was quite miserable from what I hear.
I remember you
Um,
posted a photo of a sunrise.
oh, such a blessing. Like, it's one of those things, like if you're stuck in a room, at least being able to see sunrise or sunset is wonderful. So whoever designed that cardiology wing did a good job, that you could like at least see one or the other. And so I was in cardiology I was in that cardiology room Saturday, Sunday. Monday I had a surgery to implant internal cardiac defibrillator, which from my understanding, I'm learning more and more about it as we go, is basically just a backup plan in case the electrical impulse of my heart decided to stop doing it what it was supposed to do again. So it's basically, it's implanted under the skin on the opposite side of my heart. Normally they would put it right by my heart, but since I had full lymph node clearance from my breast cancer surgery, they don't want to mess with the flow of the lymph system. And so they put it away from my heart. So I have this nice bulge thing on my right side, but basically just like a backup plan. If something were to go a little wonky, it would give me a zap, and kind of it's like the shock paddles, but it's like it's already in place in case I needed it. And then there's a transmitter in my house so that they can check it periodically. So kind of learning about that as I go. It's something that I'm healing from. That's probably, like, at this point, the biggest I don't want to call it like distraction. It's the thing that's getting in my way the most. because because I'm not supposed to move my arm, because they want it all to heal really well so it doesn't like get pulled out of place. And so yes, thank you for, saving my life, and thank you for taking care of me when I'm in the hospital, but then telling me that I'm not supposed to do anything for 6 weeks, like, that's really hard.
Well, you're a pretty active person, as I understand it.
Yeah. So I'm 2 weeks out from that surgery. Everything is well. Everything from the checkups that I've had, they say everything is doing what it's supposed to and where they want it to be, and healing and blood pressure is good and all of those things. So I'm really grateful for the care that I received. Like, I had amazing care when I was at Sanford. My nurses were awesome. Fortunately, I got to have the same nurse like 3 days in a row. So I basically feel like we're besties now. But I mean, they took really great care of me. And I attribute a lot of my recovery to that care, but also to just so many people taking care of my family and doing all of these things. Like, I can't even begin to describe how amazing it is to wake up from this, like, knowing that you nearly lost your life, and you come to, and there's all of this happening in your support. Like, people took care of me, they took care of my family, they took care of my obligations. Some friends ran my teacher training for the weekend, which, like, is a big deal. And all the classes and all the meals and just everything that everybody did, like, just blows my mind. And like, grateful doesn't even seem like a big enough word to express just how profound that is on my heart. Like, if there's anything that can help your heart heal, it's knowing that you have the support of so many people and such an amazing community as we have here. Like, it's just, I mean, I knew it was there, and you hate for it to have to be for you, but just incredible. Like, I mean, there's not words. It's just,
I completely understand what you mean. I mean, I think we all know Sioux Falls is a giving and a caring community, okay, but this was beyond that. I mean, this was an outpouring that I do not remember seeing. And, it says so much about you and the community that you have built and what I've heard that you have done for people over and over. And to see that come back, I can't even imagine turning on your phone for the first time and looking and seeing. I mean, what is going through your mind as you are seeing everything that has happened as you've been asleep?
Really, I mean, it was kind of like an out-of-body experience, if that's possible. I've had a few people ask me that, like, did you feel like you were, like, did you see the lights? Did you have any, like, come to Jesus kind of moments, out-of-body experience? And I wouldn't say that I did while I was actually out, because I'm pretty sure I was just out. Like, I don't remember any of that stuff. But when I came back, I'm finally feeling like my brain is kind of caught up, because I was really foggy. Like, I couldn't remember anything. I asked multiple times, like, what was going on. Like, just, there was a lot of disconnect between present and just that short-term memory was. And so it literally was like every time I looked at my phone, it was like all over again. I was like, oh my gosh, people are doing this for me. Like, holy cow, like, wow. Um, and just over and over and over. And I would get messages and everybody's like, I know you're probably being bombarded with messages, but I just had to check in. And like, I don't ever, like, my thing is too, is like, I hope that everybody would, if it's on your heart to reach out, then do it. Like, don't for a second think that you are getting in the way of my day by asking how I'm doing. Like, that's part of the healing process. And that's what I want to be able to do for people too. If you're on my mind, if you're on my heart, I want to say something. I don't want to sit around and think about saying something. Like, don't wait. Send the message, give the hug. Especially like what the last, year and a half has been like with COVID and stuff. Like, I think it's just so important to make the connections that is on your heart to make, to reach out to people that you haven't talked to in a while, or to just, even if you don't know, like, I got a lot of those, like, I know you don't know me, but like, it's amazing. Like, it just helps me see how much care and thought and support there is from the people of this community, and not just this community, but far spread. I mean, my parents, my in-laws, my husband, like, it just feels like one, like, great big hug from all of these people, whether I know them or whether I don't. And it makes me feel so good to know that I've left that kind of impression on people's lives.
And often, we never get to know what we mean to people, I think, unfortunately, sometimes until you're gone.
Right.
And so absolutely, well deserved. I got to know a number of your friends in the course of telling your story. One of them was your family friend, Robbie, who's the managing partner over at Outback Steakhouse, who held a fundraiser for you. And I spoke to him. You weren't even awake yet, I don't think. But it was clear that you were coming around, and he had this fundraiser planned. It's about a week out. And he said, I want her to walk in there. And I'm thinking, now that's faith. That's a lot of hope. I don't know. I hope so, but you did, right? I mean, lo and behold, you've been able to actually now go see people again. I know you've gone into some of the yoga studios. What's that been like for you?
Yeah, so, and it might have been a point where I was still a little bit like out of it. Like, I was so excited to get out of the hospital. But like, when I knew that the classes were going on in Ignite, I was like, I need to see those people. Like, I might be like, obviously I'm not going to go take a class, although I would have loved to be able to do that. It'll happen. But I felt like it was important to see people, to thank people in person for what they're doing for me. And like, that was the right opportunity. We literally got out of the hospital and went to the studio. I might have came home. I don't even know if I came home first.
I feel like, your home probably is a yoga studio to a certain.
Yeah, it kind of has been for the last while. But I just felt like it was really important for me to be there in person, just to give the hugs, to say thank you, to, for people to see that their support is what's helping me get better, and how important that is to me. So it was a little bit like, I mean, I think people were surprised for sure. But it was the energy that I needed to be around, to keep that, positive healing process going. So it was amazing. It was incredible.
Well, I believe the fundraising efforts are still going on. I mean, maybe they're finally winding down. I'm not sure, but my gosh, I mean, the support, it seems like it has just been there and then some.
Absolutely, like, more than we could have even ever asked for. But it's one of those things, like, people, that's the good in people. People feel like they want to do something, but nobody ever really knows what to do. I mean, I feel like I feel like that sometimes, like, oh, I see this need for something, but I don't exactly know what I can do. Um, and like Katie Barnes putting together the GoFundMe, and my friend Kay putting together the meal train thing, and and Chef Emily doing the desserts, and Robbie doing the meals at the Outback, and the classes at Ignite and the shop, and at Form they did a raffle thing. I mean, like, all these things just keep popping up. I'm sure there's probably something else that I forgot to even mention. My church has been so supportive and have, sent meals and sent food and sent flowers and sent money, and that's those are the things that people know that they can do, and they're so greatly appreciated. And just knowing that there's something there, so I don't feel like I have to rush back into working. I'm grateful that I have my home-based business with Arbonne. Like, I don't have to miss a beat with that stuff. My team has kept up. I'm able to stay in contact with my team and with my mentors and that kind of stuff, so that the other things, my massage clients and my yoga people, like, they get it, they understand, and they're willing to explore and go see somebody new, or give somebody else some business, which is great, because then I don't feel like I have to rush back to it, and I can take the time that I really need to heal, even though sitting in my house is really hard. Like,
Your friends
I
are
want to go do the
hoping,
things.
the hope is somewhere in all this, you're going to take a vacation. Has the family talked about that?
Yeah.
Okay.
We actually have some vacation time planned. My poor husband he's taken a lot of time off of work for me, between the breast cancer stuff last year and then all of this year. His company, he works for Hy-Vee, and they've been really great about being understanding and flexible with that family leave offering and such. And again, that goes into, being able to take the time off without pay and not have to be like super worried about the financial side of things. Like, we are taken care of, and people have been so generous. We would love to go on a vacation. Trying to figure out, what that looks like. Something for my kids. My kids have been troopers through all of this, like, I don't know if they exactly understand everything that's happened. They just know that, like, I wasn't here. Like, they didn't see me for a week. They weren't able to come to the hospital.
How old are your
So that
kids?
was, my daughter's 8 and my son is 5.
Oh, yeah.
And so they've been troopers, and so really just doing something for them too, because them, keeping it together and listening and going with the flow when it's not necessarily the norm. Um, they're heroes in this too, just for being flexible and being understanding and being there to hug me on my left side instead of my right side because I can't use that arm, and those kind of things. So they deserve a vacation too, I think. So we just gotta figure out what that looks like and what we want to do.
Well, I mean, you mentioned breast cancer. You were very public about that too. I know you've had just
Mhm.
a heck of a year in 2020.
Right.
You've gotten through that. Now this. I mean, it's like, what more can life throw at this moment? And yet you're getting through it. And as I said, really inspiring people along the way. Are there some takeaways here? You help other people heal a lot, as I understand it. And
Mhm.
are there some messages that you want to share?
Yeah, my biggest thing is just faith. Like, being grateful that you wake up every morning, that God has a plan, and God has a plan for me, and we don't always get to know what that is until it's upon us. And what I know and what I trust is that he's not done with me yet, you know? And that there's more work, there's more healing, there's more giving for me to do in this community, in this world. I have plans on, I plan on going on a mission trip this year. So hoping to get that stuff kind of all figured out, because, you know, it's do more, be more, give more. And that's just really important to me, but it's also important to me to teach those things to my kids. And so they can be a part of giving back to their community and giving back to the people that support us, and just really ultimately being a light, so that people can see the love of Christ through me. Even if they don't know that, even if they don't feel that, they can feel that through me. I'm just the conduit of the light, and that's all I can hope for. And that's what I'll continue to do, to offer healing, to offer support, to give back where I can, if it's time, if it's energy, if it's monetary, whatever way I can, to this amazing community, to the yoga community, to my church community. Just, it's important to me to raise good humans, just like my parents did and my husband's parents did, so that we can just kind of carry on that cycle of do good, be good, and more of that. We all need more of that.
You know, sometimes, often actually, we don't talk about faith in a public context like this, certainly in a news story. But I don't see how you can't look at your story and not see how your power involved every step of the way. And has this whole thing strengthened your faith, changed your faith?
You know, I definitely, I mean, last year with all the breast cancer stuff, you know, it's easy to ask, it's easy to be like, why? It's easy to get caught up in the why. Like, I have no genetic markers. I'm healthy. I eat really well. I exercise. I do all the things, like those risk factor flyers. Like, I just want, every time I see one, I just want to like tear it up and throw it, you know, because I don't have any of those things. I was not a candidate for any of that. Now with the heart stuff, like, it's easy to ask why. It's easy to get caught up in, why does this happen to me? Why does this, you know, like, what do we do to keep it from happening again? That kind of stuff. And I don't hang on to stuff like that. I'm a pretty present forward kind of person. I don't like to spend a lot of time in the past, especially when the past was not fun or not enjoyable. I mean, obviously we learn from it. But I look at it as an opportunity to open my eyes every morning with a fresh start, and an opportunity to grow more in my faith. And, you know, I've been a Christian since I was a little kid, you know, and that varies as you grow up and you go through things and friends and college and maturing and all of those things. But I would say that these experiences have definitely drawn me closer, than I thought I ever could be, with the Lord, with my church, with just the importance of having something to grasp, something to cling to when you don't know what's going on, when you know that you don't have control of a situation, being able to reach out and grasp that faith, that connection, and trusting that he has a plan. And I know that, I already know that, but if I can, if there's any way that I can be, just that people can see that through me, and it offers them a little bit more hope, or a little bit more perspective, that we all have a purpose and we all have an opportunity to do something with our lives. And, you know, like, I feel like, what, you know, I'm getting another chance, you know, and I don't feel like I have to change a lot of things. I feel like I have another chance or another opportunity to just keep doing and loving and giving and serving like I have been. And I couldn't be more excited to be able to do those things in whatever capacity they turn up.
I can't wait to see what's next for you. One of your good friends said to me, I think we can expect big things from Kendra coming out of this. And I think she was right. I can't wait to see what that looks like. Will you please keep in touch? I would love to continue to follow your journey and help however I can.
Of course, of course.
All right. All the best to you, your family.
Yeah.
Take care, be well, and we'll stay in touch. Okay.
Sounds great. Thanks, Jody.
Thank you.